These type of column problems are more of a backwards or snake-like column pattern. So if you notice, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for columns A, B, C, D, E, F. But instead of starting back with 7 in column A, we actually start in column F. And so it looks like it's snaking back and forth. And so, before, when we do a regular column problem, we find the multiple somewhere in there. And like, for instance, one problem we did, we found multiples of 7 in column G. Well, to do this one, we actually have to find multiples of when it starts to repeat. Well, the pattern repeats. Instead of every 6, it repeats every 12. And so if you look at column A has multiples of 12 in it. So the second column ends in 12. Or second row, the third row begins with, or fourth row begins with 24. So the sixth row would have 36, and the eighth row would have 48, and so on and so forth. So we look for multiples of 12. And so for number 1, it says, in what column would 85 be in? Well, we look for the multiple of 12 that's closest to 85, and that would be 84. And so 84 is going to start a column, and since 85 is one more than that, then we're going to go to the next column over, which would be column B. So column A is where 84 is, and so column B is where 85 would be. For the second problem, 249, well, what we would do is we'd go through and divide 249 by 12. So we see how many times does 249, does 12 go into 249, and that's going to be 20 with the remainder 9. So what that means is the multiple of 12 is 240, and so you're going to have 240 in column A, and then you're going to start counting up, 241, 242, and then start counting back. And so it's actually easier to look for the next multiple of 12, which would be 2 rows down, which would be 252. And so 252, because it's 12 more than 240. So here's where 251 would be. So 251 and 252 would both be in column A. And then if you wanted to find 249, you just count backwards. Column B would be 250, and column C would be 249. And so the answer to that one would be C. And the last one is, what's the sum of the 11th row? Well, if you notice, the multiples of 12 are always the even rows. And so, the first row starts with 1, the second with 12, the third with 13, the fourth with 24, the fifth with 25. Now that's where it gets a little bit confusing. So if the fifth is with 25, then to get to the sixth, if you notice, what do we do each time? We added 11. So the sixth would start with 36, and then 37. And then we start with 48 and 49. And then we look at 60. Well, so 25 was row 5, and so this would be row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9. So 60 was row 10. So 61 is row 11. So row 11 starts with 61 and goes to 66. And so it's just a matter of adding up 61 plus 62 plus 63 plus 64 plus 65 plus 66. So there are a couple different ways you could do that. Probably the easiest way, since they're all in the 60s, is that to recognize that you can break it down into 6 numbers that have a 60 in it, so that would be 360, plus the ones digits, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is 21. So 360 plus 21 is just 381. And so 381 would be the sum of the 11th row of that column.